a CRN original.
Attention, you are about to hear the captivating voice of an icon in the movie industry. You have heard him and seen him in performances in over 140 films. He's met and influenced many world leaders, and now he's about to tell you how to unite the America he loves.
That job's filled.
Unique. Brilliant. And unpredictable. Robert Davi is a Renaissance man who writes, directs, sings, and does it all with excellence.
Yeah, it's okay. We're all very impressed, but let's get on with it now.
Robert Davi believes he should use his voice to both repay and help unite America, the America that made his dreams come true.
No more Mr. Nice Guy.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Robert Davi Show.
Good day, my dear friends. So, I haven't been using my eye product, and you're listening to my voice, but this is also on camera. You can go to CRN Talk on Roku, or YouTube, or Amazon Alexa, and Google Home, and you can watch the video, or just listen to me on the radio as you're driving along, or on your phone, or however else you might do it on FaceTime or Facebook, I think. But yeah, I haven't been using I use this great product, Peter Thomas Roth stuff, and I haven't been using it last month, and I can notice that my under my eyes, I've got that little bit of a thing going on. I've got to start using that again. Get those eyes going. So anyway, here we are. The world is aghast about Joe Biden, and it's no surprise, is it, my dear friends? I don't think anybody should be surprised. And, now I find people talking about things I've talked about last week on my show. They bring them up today, For instance, there were 10,000 plus prisoners that were in Afghanistan that we put there and paid them to watch. Well, a week ago or so, they let them go. And these were members of ISIS and ISIS-X or ABCDEFG, you name what terrorist group. The ones who took now responsibility for the bombing and the more bombings that'll happen. And Biden continues, and the left continue to want to blame Donald Trump. He said in his speech yesterday, my predecessor. Although he was softened with it. Look, I don't think Joe Biden. I feel bad for America, and I feel bad for this guy, whose twilight years are going to go out in this disgrace. And we should never take glee in someone's failures. I refuse to be like the left, the Hollywood left. Those disgusting people. Shame on you. You influence a lot of people, Hollywood left. Pouring money into Gavin Newsom's campaign now, all of a sudden out of panic. The LA Times, the owner of the LA Times. Look into him. I've told several people to talk about looking into the LA Times. Because they're in bed with Hollywood. And you know what? For 45 years, I've been with Hollywood. I've been in the belly of the beast. I've been grazing on the outside fields, but sometimes I've been right in the middle of it all. In a good way. And there are a lot of great creative people, but a lot of people that are just... You see, let me take you back somewhere. I remember when Biden was running, my friends on the left, the moderate left, they were happy about it. And they will still protect their positions with it. They were happy that Biden was a moderate, and at least he's a moderate, and he'll be good. And everybody was excited and voting for him, not thinking about his ineptitude that even Osama bin Laden talked about in 2010. I talked about that 2 days ago on the show. When Osama bin Laden said, kill Obama, kill Petraeus, but leave Joe Biden alive. Because if he takes over for America, it'll be a mess. His foreign policy will be a disaster. How can the left be so wrong about so many things? How can they continue to see? Let me just tell you, my dear friends, California, and I say this over and over again, and I'm demanding of all the pundits out there to make California, listen to my voice, all you little workers that work for big studios, whatever it might be, work for other pundits, take my talking points and tell your people, push it out there. Push it out that California can start the wave across America to change the face of America. I said the other day in a tweet, wake up, don't be woke. There's a difference. There's a big difference. Wake up, don't be woke. So, we have politicians pushing political correctness to the extreme, stifling your tongue to your foreheads. If you listen to the different networks, like, say, Don Lemon's show, CNN, I was tuning into the other shows to find out their take on things, and the media is I can only call it seditious. There's no other term for it. You see, we have a country based on Judeo-Christian values. And we have a media who is seditious. How do you figure that one? And the big cities are the cesspits of America. Believe it or not, the big cities are the cesspits of America. Oh, we have museums and culture and everything else there. But they're the cesspits. They're the ones that go in there and stir the agitprop. They're captured by the left, the Schumers. You can smell them from here. The Pelosi's in San Francisco, and the Gavin Newsoms and the Gascons in Los Angeles, and you could smell them, the corruption. It drips off them when they speak. And you, out there, the people, you must engage. You must not be afraid. Do not go gentle into that good night. You'll regret that you did. Let's get ready to rumble and stop all the political BS. Okay, we all know what's happening. We all know that the Jews and Christians in the West are under attack by two forces: radical Islam and the American left. And today Ilhan Omar is begging Biden to take in more refugees. While America's fraying, rotting from inside, she wants to put more refugees into this system, to drain the system. Do you know a refugee can come in here that needs a heart condition, doesn't have the money, will get the treatment before an American citizen? Did you know that? Do you know that? Think about the Somalians in Minnesota, how much money they're getting when they come in. Of course we are, bring us your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free. No, that's a fallacy. Because what does freedom mean? What does it really mean? And do they understand freedom? Because they're enslaved by the left. They get captured by the left, and they thank the left, and the left puts chains around their necks and around their ankles. And the more slaves that the left can bring into America, the more slaves America will grow to become, a slave nation. You think that what happened before the Civil War and during that was, wait till you see what's going to happen. You're already enslaved. And the commissars of the left, the Katzenbergs, and the people putting in tons of money into the left, millions of dollars, into culture, into political ads, into the whatnots, attacking a guy like Larry Elder or John Cox because they're conservatives. They want diversity, but they don't give diversity. They give lies. They're not diverse. They're connivers. They're out of touch. How can they be in touch? Have you been in some of the mansions? I've been. How can you be in touch? Julio, can you please? We'll have 5 more guests for dinner tonight. Can we get some more filet mignon? Jacinta, prepare the guest rooms and the pools. How can they be in touch with what you're going through? The pain you feel and see. So they sit in these homes with acreages and mansions and everything else, and they appease their guilt by paying, by saying, let's do this and let's do that. Meanwhile, they're hustling the American people. China is eating us alive. We're under attack. Davi. Great David Horowitz wrote a book dealing with this. Radical Islam and the American Left. Ilhan Omar wants more people. Oriana Fallaci's book, The Force of Reason. Watch it. The Force of Reason. Read her book. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask you a question. Did you know withdrawing your cash from the bank can be very risky? That's right. So please listen up. Are you aware that banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any behavior they think is suspicious? It's true. I was shocked as I read Swiss America's blockbuster report, The Secret War on Cash. This new war against cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. Listen to me. You must read The Secret War on Cash. Now get your free copy by calling 866-219-3750. That's 866-219-3750. Or visit SwissAmerica.com. This war on cash is growing daily and also includes all forms of digital money. So please, get ahead, read The Secret War on Cash free to every Robert Davi fan today by calling 866-219-3750. That's 866-219-3750. And then you'll thank me later.
What are you going to do with your old car? You can try selling it, you could junk it, or you could donate it to Heritage for the Blind. Your car will be towed away for free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats. It doesn't matter if your vehicle runs or not. It will be towed away for free, and you'll be supporting those that need help. Heritage for the Blind is a nonprofit organization that helps the visually impaired live fuller lives. Call right now to donate your car, and as a special thank you for calling, you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to many exciting locations. Call Heritage for the Blind right now, 1-800-785-9618. Donating is easy, and your vehicle is towed away for free. Plus, you'll get a free vacation voucher. Call now, 1-800-785-9618. That's 1-800-785-9618.
Have you heard about Vine to Bar chocolate? It's the winemaker's chocolate, the world's first chocolate made with well-vined Chardonnay marc from the beautiful coastal vineyards of North America. Gently pressed grapes are harvested after juicing, dried and finely milled and carefully blended into the finest dark chocolate. The Chardonnay marc contains highly beneficial grape nutrients, flavonols, and has a natural sweetness that flavors the luscious dark chocolate. Mouth-watering, flavorful, delectable dark chocolate goodness with Chardonnay sweetness and beneficial nutrients. And it's alcohol-free, too. It's Vine to Bar chocolate. Order some today at vinetobar.com. That's VINETOBAR.com. Cold shipped to your door, it's Vine to Bar. Vine to Bar chocolate. Visit us at vinetobar.com.
Robert Davi.
I want you to know this is nothing personal. It's purely business.
Yes, business. The business of the left. The owner of the LA Times doing hit pieces on Larry Elder because he's a black conservative. And he's in the middle of Hollywood, this guy, this Patrick Soon, whatever his name is. Can't say it. Don't want to say it. But look him up. Owner of LA Times. Right in the middle of Hollywood. Right in the middle of all those guys meeting together and having fundraisers for each other. Let's have Kamala over for lunch. His best friend in politics is Joe Biden, the owner of the LA Times. He's a Chinese immigrant. His parents were. They left China because of the Japanese and they wound up in South Africa. I've had people say, let's do exposés on him. Let's find out who he is. His politics are left. He has done some work with the medical community. He's an inventor of cancer medication and stuff. Good guy, supposedly, married to Michelle Kwan Chan, actress, sometime. God bless them. But at least have a fair newspaper, sir. And now people are finally talking about it. I started last week saying, don't just get the Davis girl, Erica Davis, who wrote the article saying that, and which offended me to my soul, that Larry Elder was the face of white supremacy, the black face of white supremacy. And then Hollywood is silent. I bet middlers of the world will tweet things about the Orange Man. But Hollywood is silent about the dead man, the whisperer. And I don't mean to, again, I hate when I do this. It's part of the thing, I guess, It's part of the business, part of sitting here talking, ranting around. But it doesn't seem fair. And I rant against the right, the hypocrisy, and the weakness of the right. Likeability. Well, he's likable. Joe is likable. How do you feel right now? 13 Marines dead. 200 people killed. Because the policy was wrong. And don't blame Trump, because 4 years ago Trump said exactly how he would get out of Afghanistan, you lying pigs in the media. You pig in a pink suit. And Nancy Pelosi raises her hand and is happy because she passed $3.5 trillion bill to devastate people, the middle class. Let's not have a middle class. Let's crush them. Yeah. Let's not reward excellence. People came here for a better life. Do you know? I used to wonder, my grandfather came here from Naples, one of them. Two gentlemen that came from Europe, two different paths. My grandfather from Naples worked in the railroads, worked in the coal mines, traveled along, and then became a bootlegger. How, I don't know. Never fully got into the story. I wish I had. But his partners, people he spoke to weekly were Marshall Field and Joseph P. Kennedy. He was like a go-between, the Italians and them. And then my grandfather on my father's side, Sicilian, he enlisted in World War I, critically wounded twice, 2 Purple Hearts and an oak leaf cluster. Immigrants coming to this country because they wanted to be better. And my grandfather's, on my mother's side, the bootlegger, his occupation is listed as a junk man. And he was in junk. He knew about junk. Those guys could make a lot of money. He had a kumpari who was into junk. I don't mean junk. And now we have Hollywood. It's been over a decade that the Hollywood community has been sucking up to the socialist Nazis in China. Their slave state. And recently the Chinese have turned off the money spigot. Yeah. Think about this. There's not been a single Hollywood release in China since A Quiet Place Part 2 on May 28th. Meanwhile, the Disney Marvel titles haven't been released in China since Avengers Endgame, April of 2019. Black Widow still remains without a release. Now maybe because of COVID, maybe. Risk. Internals, directed by Chloe Zhao, was branded a traitor for her remarks. Anyway, that's not the point. American basketball continues to be a sensitive subject following an NBA official's 2019 comments on Hong Kong. There's a political standoff between China and the U.S., and that's gummed up film industry negotiations. Now, there's a possibility in a tit-for-tat move following U.S. moves against ZTE, TikTok, and Huawei. And maybe China's doing this on purpose. Maybe there's a bigger game. We don't know. We don't know what Silicon Valley's doing, sitting there, carving up the world, carving up your lives. There's a TV series I've been watching, 000. It's quite interesting, quite stark, quite frightening in some of its aspects. But you take a look at that, and it's a small microcosm of what's happening in the world in the drug trade. Just a small microcosm. But when you see man's inhumanity to man, when you see what they're doing to each other in the name of business, in the name of power, and we know governments are doing the same thing. We know that the game against the people, against we the people, against the great unwashed. And we let it happen. So China's hurting now, aren't they? They're hurting. How do we change the country? Harvard just named an atheist as the chief chaplain. An atheist. Interesting, isn't it? How nice is that? I just think it's just wonderful. It's so interesting to me that an atheist can be the chief chaplain. Maybe we should have a Wiccan. You know, I was watching a documentary on a spiritual sentient being called Yogananda, showing it to my wife. Self-realization, the autobiography of a yogi. And remember they took prayer out of school? Remember they did that? Why? And what's happened to our youth? Davi, back in a minute.
Let's talk about your credit cards. When you first start using them, it's a slow drip. You make charges, then more charges, then bills come, and they keep coming. When you open your statements, the floodgates come pouring in. You realize you have more credit card debt than you can afford, and you're barely making the minimum payments. Wouldn't it be nice to make one affordable payment and have all your credit card bills covered? Make this free call and learn our responsible way to get your credit card bills paid and under control.
Sponsored by Consumer Education Services, a nonprofit organization.
800-876-3643. 800-876-3643. 800-876-3643. That's 800-876-3643.
CESI is not a loan company. The establishment of a debt management plan may adversely affect your credit rating. Non-payment of debt may lead creditors to increase finance and other charges to undertake collection activity, including liquidation.
You order a glass of your favorite Cabernet, fresh asparagus, hollandaise on the side, a filet, medium rare. You unfurl your napkin with a flair, close your eyes, and prepare to listen. Ah, there it is. The sweet music you long to hear. The sizzle. The sizzle of a Ruth's Chris steak.
The most magnificent corn-fed prime beef, broiled to perfection at 1800 degrees. Some call it a sizzle. We call it an anthem.
As the waiter approaches, you think, is this one mine or that one?
Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Like Ruth always said, life's too short to eat anywhere else.
Make a reservation online at ruthschris.com or by calling 800-544-0808.
This is Robert Davi. Allow me to introduce you to the most trusted name in precious metals, Swiss America. Since 1982, they've been helping Americans protect their wealth from dangerous government spending and runaway debt. Now, it's no secret gold and silver prices have rocketed over the last decade. With all of the rising uncertainty, experts say precious metal prices are headed much higher in the months and years ahead. Now, to help protect my fans, Swiss America has a very special offer. Swiss Walking Liberty half dollars at the amazingly low price of $12.50 each delivered. That's right, $12.50. So call now, reserve your silver coins at 866-219-3750. That's 866-219-3750. Silver Walking Liberty half dollars from Swiss America for just $12.50 each delivered while supplies last. Again, 866-219-3750. 866-219-3750. Do it today.
Trying to sell your old car? Instead, donate your vehicle to Heritage for the Blind. Pickup is free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats, whether they run or not. Call right now and receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to over 50 locations. Call 1-800-785-9618. Donate your car today. That's 1-800-785-9618.
All right, is that a Q2 or a Q3 expense?
Dwayne's CPA went MIA. To keep his books and his sanity, he needs to find a replacement ASAP.
Hey, Johnny, have you ever heard of a fungible good?
Indeed can help him hire the people he needs.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job, you immediately get your short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job criteria. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
The Robert Davi Show.
This is authentic. Una furtiva lacrima negli occhi.
So, my dear friends, we talk about political correctness and wokeness here in America. Now, I want to ask you something, and just answer it in your mind. Because I've been saying, wake up, don't be woke. But I'm going to ask you something. You know, because America was a country and, you know, the police and all the whatnot of it all, right? So this thing, this critical race theory and everything else, it spawned from America, right? Our education process. Right, Jeremy? It came from these teachers and the indoctrination of cultural Marxism. You think so?
The critical race theory?
Yeah, you know, the wokeness. How that we're awake in society.
I think it's like a pyramid. I think it comes from the top down and it trickles down into the teachers and,
right,
you know, all these departments, all these institutions.
Right. So it's coming, but it's America, right? It's America here.
Yeah, mostly, but there's some European. I think there's some. Communism isn't limited to just this country. We're just starting to experience it. So
well, the whole world is.
Yeah.
So because I mean, and the point of this question was because obviously you're more up to date on what's happening than the normal person listening to us.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to reach the ears of people that don't know or not in the know. So what's interesting to me, I caught a story that the Scottish government has embedded white privilege and woke ideology in national education. Think about that. The Scottish government is embedding it. Now, they're doing it to America. But if this was in response to George Floyd, and if this was in response to Ferguson, see, Obama goes around the world, you know.
Yeah.
Obama talks to all these world leaders. So there's something else that's going on. We've got to find out what it is.
Yes.
We got to find out why it is. And, I mean, this is an interesting story by a guy named Jack Montgomery. And he says that Scottish left separatist government has published its astonishing new agenda for embedding race equality in schools, pushing documents which teach woke ideology on white privilege, white fragility, decolonizing the curriculum, structural racism, and the alleged non-existence of reverse racism as fact. And one of the resources the Scottish government now directs to, as part of a new package of support materials for teachers and staff to embed anti-racism and race equality into all aspects of school life. Look at that. It's Scott Deck, Anti-Racist Toolkit for Teachers, penned Titalayo or Tita Farucoyo, anyway, an organized anti-racist educator, youth worker, writer, passionate about issues of identity, social justice, and the climate, as well as a slam poet, this guy. And the document tells teachers how to identify white fragility and practice overcoming white fragility, how to create safe spaces, and how to recognize race as a system that serves to enable capitalism and the current world order. What?
Mm-hmm.
As a system that enables capitalism and the current world order. Now, and it goes on. It goes on. It asserts that race is a theory constructed and upheld by white European elite to further justify the West's accumulation of wealth and power by the means of continuous centuries-long crimes. If you are socialized as white, you grew up in a world where you were constantly told, fed by the culture around you, that your way of life is the right, sophisticated, enlightened way to be. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Robin DiAngelo, the American author of White Fragility, who's a rich white woman, is referenced throughout the document. And the Scottish government also directs people to Education Scotland's document promoting and developing race equality, anti-race education, and overview. And it goes on, the document in race has influenced British immigration policy, and it goes on, and it goes on, and it goes on, and it goes on. Quite a long article. So, the same thing is happening in Scotland. Is this the new? What is it? It goes back to Bill Ayers, my dear friends. I beg you, please, look at my article. Look at my article on Bill Ayers on Breitbart. I beg you to read it. I'm going to read it to you on the next segment. We have a next segment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The next segment, I'm going to read you my Bill Ayers article because you must hear it. You have to understand. And President Obama and Michelle, remember Michelle was not she hated America? You know, look at as a white, brown guy, Sicilian Napolitan, I find offense at this. Blaming it all, because I think we should have Parents United for Education, yes. An organization I'm starting. We should unite for education. And we should tell this and frame these issues, but in a way that doesn't call white fragility or white privilege or whatever it is. Because let's face the truth. Let's face the truth. Where would we be without progress? Where would we be? I ask you. Look yourself in the face. Look in the mirror. Katzenberg, Reed Hastings, where would we be? Because you guys pushed this theory by giving the left all the money and all the power of Hollywood, communicating this whole woke virus. We want equality. America's come a long way. You're making people victims. You're keeping the blacks down. Shame on you. And you reverse the idea of it. You're so smart, so clever, you communist Marxists, you pigs, pushing slavery once again. In Scotland, how dare they? And that's happening here. You know, crayons now are labeled in kindergarten for kids. It's starting in kindergarten. That's right, my dear friends. It's starting in kindergarten. This indoctrination is starting in kindergarten. And I know so many people gleefully saying they can't wait till the white man suffers. This is racist. This is Nazi. They're Nazis. They're worse than they're Nazis. They're just as bad as the Nazi fascists. We've got to call them out for what they are, separating Americans. There was a video of a black father the other day, or teacher, whatever it was, last week I heard, gave an eloquent dissertation to his school board. That should have been on every network 24/7. 24/7 it should be played. I got to find that clip. If anybody out there knows what that clip is, find it, send it to me. I want to play that clip every single day. Tweet it out every single day. Cut it up, put it on TikTok every single day. Instagram every day. The lies that are being told. White fragility, white privilege. My ass. I had no privilege. I know so many people had no privilege. Some have. Gavin Newsom has. Talk about white privilege, you hypocrites. You hypocrites. Pelosi has. She grew up in a family of politics. Wears a pink suit, goes to Napa Valley and spews a $3.5 trillion budget while living in walled estates. Davi, back in a minute.
What are you going to do with your old car? You can try selling it, you could junk it, or you could donate it to Heritage for the Blind. Your car will be towed away for free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats. It doesn't matter if your vehicle runs or not. It will be towed away for free, and you'll be supporting those that need help. Heritage for the Blind is a nonprofit organization that helps the visually impaired live fuller lives. Call right now to donate your car, and as a special thank you for calling, you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to many exciting locations. Call Heritage for the Blind right now, 1-800-785-9618. Donating is easy, and your vehicle is towed away for free. Plus, you'll get a free vacation voucher. Call now, 1-800-785-9618. That's 1-800-785-9618.
Columbo's, since 1954, has been serving up fine dining in a relaxing atmosphere and all at an affordable price. Columbo's is still doing something right. It's why so many travel from the West Side and the Valleys to experience and enjoy what Eagle Rock is known for years. Columbo's is truly something special. Columbo's serves up some of the most succulent, delicious steaks, as well as outstanding seafood offerings in all of Southern California. And the Columbo family's Italian specialties are worth the trip from anywhere. Columbo's is a memory maker. Colorado Boulevard, Eagle Rock, 323-254-9138. 323-254-9138. Columbo's Italian Steakhouse and Jazz Club, serving up fine dining and a relaxing atmosphere and all at an affordable price. Columbo's, of course.
Now it's time for MedVed's Entertainment Minute.
Hugh Jackman plays a tough guy with a broken heart who operates a machine that can bring people's memories back to vivid life in the futuristic film noir Reminiscence, now playing in theaters and streaming on HBO Max.
Nothing is more addictive than the past.
How close can you get before the illusion's broken?
You're going on a journey. All you have to do is follow my voice.
And all you have to do is listen to the dialogue to see what's wrong with this pretentious pastiche of much better old films. Rebecca Ferguson plays the part of what used to be called a soiled angel who becomes a deadly obsession for the haunted main character, while Thandie Newton, his loyal assistant, tries to protect him. The subplot about a future Miami nearly underwater from climate change adds nothing, while a series of ultra-violent sequences make the PG-13 rating a joke. 1.5 stars for Reminiscence. Despite the title, there's hardly anything about the film that's actually memorable.
The Robert Davi Show.
Mike, you let me down, Mike. You're making me look bad. I thought we had an understanding. And all I expect is a little cooperation!
Sorry, Robert.
Yeah. A little cooperation. I don't know what we want. I want to find this article here, and I'm going to read it to you. I'm looking for it. An article I wrote several years ago. And it's, I wrote it September 1st of 2014. Bill Ayers, Communism, and the Fundamental Transformation of America. Woke, Scottish woke, American woke. Here's where it all comes from, my friends. Cultural Marxism, useful idiots, paid for by Communist Russia and China. Because why is it such a worldwide? What happens with these leaders when they get together? You know, for years it's been said David Rockefeller was the devil. I don't know about that. But there was a part of David Rockefeller that was very, very interesting to research. You know, he's very interesting. I might have somebody on the show next week who's a major conspiracy theorist. Has a lot of knowledge about this, has a lot of interesting ideas. I don't agree with them all. They're almost sometimes a bit too much to behold. But there's a lot of truth to it. A lot of interesting truth to what he says. I might have him on. Yeah. He's out there. But you know, I listen to him speak sometimes, and over the years, and I says, "You're crazy." And then you can't deny it. You can't deny when you see it happening. It's like when I read None Dare Call It Treason. You know, Bill Ayers, no. Wikipedia him. In 1969, he co-founded the Weather Underground. That's a self-described communist revolutionary group. Conducted a campaign of bombing public buildings, including police stations. Sound familiar? The Capitol building, the Pentagon, during the 60s and 70s in response to U.S. involvement in the Vietnam War. Think of that. You know, he was never put in prison. No. Not like the people today that did a little stuff at the January 6th thing. This guy never served time. 1970, Ayers was called a national leader of the Weather Underground Weatherman Organization. And the New York Times, one of the chief theorists of the Weathermen. Now, the Weathermen were initially part of the Revolutionary Youth Movement within the SDS, splitting from the RYM's Maoists by claiming there was no time to build a vanguard party, that revolutionary war against the United States government and the capitalist system should begin immediately. This is in the 60s. Bill Ayers. Their founding document called for, you hear me? Listen to me, a white fighting force. To be allied with the Black Liberation Movement, the BLM of that day, and other anti-colonial movements. Anti-colonial, they say. There should be Marxist, communist movements. And what was their, and this is on their, this was on their Constitution, the Weathermen. This is what they put up here. I'm not making it up, my dear friends. No, he said the destruction of U.S. imperialism and the achievement of a classless world. World communism. It's what they wanted. World communism. So Scotland is doing woke, white privilege, making kids over there feel guilty, to make other people feel better. Instead of assimilating into a society, feel like they're entitled. Instead of being able to say, let's lift us up, we'll lift you up, come with us, assimilate into our culture. It doesn't make any sense unless you want to split the world apart. Then it makes sense. You see, it makes no other sense. And the media is in on this. The Don Lemons of the world, the MSNBCs, the Jeff Zuckers, the Hollywood elite, they're in on this out of whatever it is. I'd like to have an in-depth conversation. Why don't we have a symposium in Hollywood, Jeff Zucker, on CNN? Get all the left-wing CNN people that you love, all the celebrities. Let's have a nice symposium about this. A town hall. Let's have a town hall on it where we tell the truth. How come no one's done that? How come no one's had Katzenberg and the other guys, Reed Hastings, on a panel that's not cocooned inside their own left-wing ideology? Why? It's about time we demand it as the American people. Stand up. You have the power. You have the power to crush this stupidity. This America was built on, yes, all kinds of issues. But even Jefferson and a few others talked about the big cities. Anyway, I was pleased that Bill Ayers has now reformed himself and become an educator for many years. I did this. Let's see for, see what I said back then. Wow, I've not heard this stuff. But like most Americans, I'm clueless as to what it really was. So this is also from Wikipedia. Because we hear about these things, organizations, but we don't really know. But here's what it said on Wikipedia. The Weather Underground Organization, the WUO, commonly known as the Weather Underground, was an American radical left organization founded on the Ann Arbor campus of the University of Michigan. Chicago, Illinois. Originally called Weathermen, the group became known colloquially as the Weathermen. Weathermen organized in 1969 as a faction of Students for a Democrat Society, SDS, composed for the most part of the national office leadership of SDS and their supporters. Their goal was to create a clandestine revolutionary party for the overthrow of the U.S. government. This is what they're doing. This is Antifa. This is the riots in the streets. This is who Pelosi and Schumer and Schiff supported. This is what's happened in several years in our country. This is what we're seeing. Not the group of patriots on January 6th that everyone's got their knickers in an uproar over. I'm not saying it was right. I don't know. I don't know the truth there. But what happened in city after city, what's still happening in Portland, Oregon with Antifa and the rest of it. Where's the National Guard squashing this? We have no leadership in America. We have traitors. We have people that hate this nation because it was founded on different principles. revolutionary positions characterized by black power, opposition to the Vietnam War, because we were against communism in Vietnam. I remind you. The group conducted a campaign of bombings through the 70s and took part in actions such as the jailbreak of Timothy Leary, who I met in Hollywood in the 80s. The Days of Rage, their first public demonstration on October 8th, 1969, was a riot in Chicago, timed to coincide with the trial of the Chicago 7. In 1970, the group issued a declaration state of war against the United States government under the name Weather Underground Organization. So, overthrow U.S. government. Revolutionary movement allied with Black Liberation Movement. Communists, Marxists, Leninists, Bill Ayers, educator, Chicago, Illinois, overthrow of U.S. government. GD America. Who said that? Do you remember? Do you remember who said GD America? Reverend Wright. Remember the church Obama went to for 20 years? And Michelle went to and sat there? Chickens have come home to roost? In Weatherman theory, oppressed peoples are the creators of the wealth of empire, and it is to them it belongs. The goal of revolutionary struggle must be control and use of this wealth in the interest of the oppressed peoples of the world. The goal is the destruction of U.S. imperialism and the achievement of a classless world communism. $3.5 trillion budget that Pelosi and Pink passed. And the GOP is quiet because they want their re-election campaign to go unnoticed or unchallenged. Billy's an educator planting seeds of revolutionary wisdom in the minds and hearts of our youth. That's what this is. It's all part of a brilliant playbook that's taken hold in the world. Make no mistake about it. It's not wokeness. It's sedition. It's absolute sedition. And people don't care. So we go back to our Cold Stone ice cream, glass of red wine, Aperol Spritz. You know, we go back and have celebrities selling their tequila and whatnot, creating wealth, not telling the truth to the American people. Yeah, selling sneakers and the whatnot. Anyway, have a wonderful weekend.
Are you tired of your